Okay, what is up, metalheads and non-metalheads alike? This is the Everblack Underground, where I bring you music that you probably never heard before, hopefully. Um, this is an episode or a segment of called Bands I've Discovered, where I tell you about 4 bands that I've discovered, 3 of which that I enjoyed, and one of which I did not enjoy very much. The reason I do that is because just because I enjoy one, I don't enjoy one of the bands doesn't mean you won't enjoy one of the bands. So that's really it. We're gonna get right into it with a band called Helvort. They are from Russia and they've been around since 2012. They're still ongoing. They are symphonic blackened death metal with themes of evil, history, mythology, and blasphemy. They have an EP and an album. There's an EP in Russian. I do not know Russian, so I will put the name right here. If you know it, maybe you can translate it for me. The album is The Sumerian Spirits. So we're going to kick it right off with the album. It's got 7 tracks on it, the EP. It's got 7 tracks on it. Kicks off some great epicness, very dark and epic black metal. There's also some proggy stuff in here throughout, I feel. Vocals are solid and exactly what I like out of black metal, so that's a great thing. Definitely interesting backing string progressions that give it some depth. Not everything here is blast beats and tremolo either, so it keeps it kind of interesting, and the ending track has some really beautiful piano play out. So I like this EP, honestly. Like I said, some proggy stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of proggy stuff, but at least it keeps it interesting. It's not just generic black metal. So give it a check out. Alright, and then we're going to talk about the Sumerian Spirits. This one blew me away. Way more death metal-esque than the first EP. The guitar work on here is freaking insane. They even work on some folky aspects in regards to the Sumerian title. There's a little more variety in vocal style here as well. There's also some more piano throughout the EP. Whereas the last EP just had some at the end. I would definitely say this is the better of the two, and you get way more out of this one than the last one. It does lead us out with some piano just like the original EP. Overall, I really enjoyed listening to this band. They've continued to put singles out all the way up to 2020, so hopefully they can continue and we get to hear more from them. From the Sumerian Spirits, I would check out Epic of Gilgamesh. Alrighty, so we're going to move on to the next band. We're going to talk about a band called Svartar. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Probably not, so excuse my mispronunciation. This is a band from Poland. They've started in 2016. I'm not really sure if they're still going or not. They're a black metal band. Themes with death, winter, and misanthropy. And they have one demo from 2016. They have connections with bands, and I'm gonna mispronounce a bunch of these. Skitterwall, sorry, hold on. If I can read them. This Kingdom of Peace, Wuxzka, Forgotten Quests, Thermal Annihilation, Enis Magulo, Lebrosiaka, Confusion, and Mordoria. Alright, so demo has 3 tracks. Demo starts off very slow, melancholy-like. Even the vocals you can hear are performed more slowly than what you'd expect from a black metal band. Getting that strange distortion effect in the voice It never really loses its pacing. Even when it speeds up a bit on the second track, it will feel like it blends together really well. I do get strong hardcore punk vibes from the second track, though it never officially removes itself from the black metal sound. And then that final song pulls us out with something that feels oddly reassuring. Everything is puzzled together quite nicely. If I was looking for something a little more laid back, this would definitely satisfy that thirst. I would specifically check out the song Visceral on this demo, so give it a check out and tell me what you think. Alright, then we're going to talk about a band called Bloodsoaked. They are from North Carolina. They have been around since 2007 and are still ongoing. They're a death metal band. They have 6 albums: Brutally Butchered, Sadistic Deeds, Grotesque Memories, The Death of Hope, Religious Apocalypse, Desolate Paradise, and Disgorging the Wretched. So we're going to talk about Brutally Butchered first. First, crushing speed. This is nasty and has elements of old school and new school death metal. I hear a lot of Cannibal Corpse and Obituary influences here. Great sounding snare and really strong sense of song structure. The riffs are very headbang worthy. This is just some solid death metal and some slow chuggy parts thrown in for good measure. Riffing chaos is how I describe it. I want nothing more. Last track and interesting, and I suggest listening to it on your own time and making your own opinion on it. My favorite song on this album is Brutally Butchered. Check it out. The second album, Sadistic Deeds, Grotesque Memories. Again, this just comes in speeding with solid old school meets new school sound. Devastating, crushing, and grotesque is what you would describe this music. We also get a taste of some more of that chugginess we got in the first album, although this time it just sounds like it's been sharpened into a deadly weapon. Some great riffs on tracks like Rise With Me or Existence Denied. Even tracks like Depression introduce a bit of thrashiness, and of course this also comes with a solid Obituary cover. Please check this one out. This is great. I actually really enjoy this album. My favorite song on this album is Rise With Me. Give it a listen. Alright, and then the third album from this band, The Death of Hope. This album sounds more like an old school death metal tribute. That doesn't make it any less heavy, but you can really hear some influence from bands like Death and Pestilence. Even more speed, though. These riffs are unrelentlessly fast. The speed makes the chuggy parts all that more effective. When it slows down, it really hits you hard. It just feels like you are getting kicked in the chest with brutality. There's even some sick solos in here by none other than James Murphy. Give it a check out. My favorite song on this album is Consume the Flesh.
Apprehension turns to lust as I must taste, as I bite down. I once was your face. My fleeting frenzy over. My night now complete. Stomach filled with human flesh.
And the fourth album, Religious Apocalypse. Damn, this album comes out like a machine gun. The first intro is just pure speed on the guitar. The band added a second guitarist on this one, and it just makes them sound even more disgusting. A lot of this album is live tracks, which I won't get into, but the covers are an interesting touch, and of course the original tracks are insane. My favorite song on this album is Religious Apocalypse. Check it out. And then the fifth album, Desolate Paradise. This band really likes their speedy intros into their albums. Again, met with a barrage of notes to start us off. I have to say this album kind of sounds like they're starting to settle in. I don't hear much on this album that I haven't already heard. Not a bad thing, but maybe a sign that the band is no longer growing. I do like the tones they have on the guitar here. My favorite song on this album is Chopped. Give it a listen, tell me what you think. And then the final album that I'm going to cover on this band, Disgorging the Wretched. Oh man, just when I thought they were going to get stale, they threw in a new vocalist. Just adds a whole new layer of brutality to the music. This vocalist is much more versatile in his sound. Those gutturals are just disgusting. This is definitely more slammy than anything they put out prior, and I'm loving it. I love the slam. I hope they continue along with the sound. I'd love to see what they do with it. My favorite song on this track is 4,000 Days. Give it a check out, and check out the rest of the album. I highly suggest it. Alright, and then the final band I'm going to talk about, the one I didn't care for very much, but again, please check them out without any bias from me, is Goatplasma. They're from Poland. I'm not sure when they formed, but I know that they put out a song in 2019, because I'm going to talk about that one. They are a black metal band, and their only single is Goatplasma. It's just one track. And although Goatplasma has only one single out, it is a whopping 14 minutes long. Of course, this isn't especially unusual in the black metal scene. It is kind of upsetting that I can really only find one track under this band. Maybe if I had more to go off, I might enjoy them a bit more. Overall, this track feels a little bit lackluster. You can clearly tell there's some real talent recorded on this track. One of my personal issues is I can't get behind the poor production. I know it's kind of a tradition in some black metal groups to have a really trashy production quality, but I've never really agreed with that mindset. It doesn't need to be perfect, but this is a very quiet track with a fuzzy layered on top on the whole track, making it really hard to get a good listen at the music. I'm also not a fan of the guitar in some portions of the song. It feels like a noise without thought. Of course, again, this might just be due to the production quality, but that is what I get out of it. Again, there's some great talent on this, it's just not for me. There are some clear-cut breaks that shift the music on the track, almost making me feel like this track is several songs all just glued together to make one. I could be way off, but that's what it sounds like to me. So give the track a little bit of a listen, here's a taste of it, and tell me what you think. and that is it for bands I've discovered. I hope you enjoyed any of these bands. Tell me which one's your favorite, and what you thought of this episode. If there's any bands that you want me to check out, give me a shout out in the comments. I read all my comments, so I really enjoy the interactivity there. Hope you have a good day, and stay heavy.
Ah!